Okay, and welcome.
My name is Les.
And I'm Steve. And this is
Tabletop Tastings.
It's the perfect pairing for
Board games?
and some whiskey tasting.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. We're really excited for our next episode here. Just before we begin, we wanted to clear up something from our last episode.
What are you talking about? What is it you want to clear up?
Well, okay, so Les takes care of all the board game stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He gets it organized. He figures out what he's going to play.
Steve's never seen the games before I bring
That's
it up.
true.
This is the first time, unless he's played it on his own, but typically he's not that adept. No, but the games, Steve's never seen them before.
Yeah.
Or at a minimum, he's never played it before. He doesn't know what's underneath the sheet or cardboard in this case.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the whole promise that we made when we started this, is to make it interesting for both of us. That Les would take care of the board game portion, and I would take care of the whiskey tasting portion.
So, was there a problem with the board game portion in the last game?
So, probably just the fact that I won is a problem to you.
Although we learned there may be a reason that you won.
Yeah, but it still counts as a win for me. But, and I'll take the lead on this portion, because it shouldn't be all completely on Les,
Sure.
even though it is completely on Les, because it's part of what he's supposed to do. And so Les plays through the game a couple of times. He reads through all of the instructions to make sure that he understands, before he shows me the game, how it plays, what all the rules are, and so on and so forth. And let's be real. When you get a new game, crack it open, you look through all the pieces, and the first thing you do is check out the rules.
Yep.
You read through the rules a bunch of times, and then you'll play through it, and you usually have the rules with you, right? So that when something comes up, I ask a question, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? Okay, let's look at the rules. So we're trying to not bore you guys with all of that. So Les had looked at the rules and failed.
Now, okay, so my strategy is actually a little bit different than that. So typically I'll watch a learn to play for a particular game.
Sure.
Okay, then I'll go through and play the game. Then I'll reread through the rules to see what it is that I've done wrong.
Yep.
With the last game you played,
So let's
Yeah.
stop. He messed up on the rules, and we played the game incorrectly.
Yes, we did.
However, I still won, so it counts as a win for me, and I will take it.
So I think the message we're trying to convey, because normally, I think it's very common the first time you play a game to make a few mistakes.
Sure.
And that's why
That's gonna happen.
anytime I play a game for the first time, I then go back and reread through the rules to see, oh, we were doing that wrong, we were doing this wrong.
Yeah.
With our Chaos Society, though, I think I did more wrong than I did right when it comes to playing that. There were so many mistakes. Now, some of those mistakes, I argued back and forth with other individuals on it, because how it's written in the rules was a little tricky to figure out.
Okay.
But there were a few other things that were just straight up outright wrong, and I've got no idea where I got what I got on how to play through those.
I will have to mention, though, that the whiskey portion of it was actually fantastic. And we've had it again since, and it was still fantastic. But so thank you, boogers.
That boogers. I can't dispute that. The whiskey was on par.
Yeah.
Still a great game.
Yeah.
We played it wrong. And what's kind of like, where are we going with this? What's the moral of this story?
So the whole point is that when you're playing games, you're going to mess up, especially the first few times. And I know from one of my first real board games to get into, not Monopoly and all these other ones, was the Settlers of Catan. And when we went out and bought our first box of that, we played it the way that the person who showed us how to play played it. I kind of looked through the rules a little bit, but I just played it the way they showed us to. And so you almost come to have house rules, right? When it comes to different ways of playing. I don't think it necessarily makes the game any worse or better, but some would definitely argue that you have to play it the way that the rules show us. So you're gonna mess up. Things are not gonna get played exactly the right way. However, it's still fun. And I really like Archaeus Society. I really can't wait to play that one again. And so we're going to play it again with the regular rules, and I'm still going to win.
And on that bombshell, the game we're about to play.
Perfect. Let's get into it.
I have never played.
Okay.
Okay. So I mentioned, the normal steps that we like to go through for this. This game I've played around by myself.
Okay.
Okay. But it's really quite simple. So we may make more mistakes, but the intent of this is just for fun, right?
Yeah.
If you want to learn how to play a game, don't watch what we're doing here. We will have other learn to play videos out there, or there's a myriad of others out there. But if you want to learn how to accurately play a game, those are the steps to take.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole point of this is pairing an awesome board game with some awesome whiskey and just having some fun together. So hopefully you get that out of it, and we get to play lots of board games and drink lots of whiskey together.
So that brings us into our game.
I'm excited.
Our game has a 7.4 rating on Board Game Geek.
All right.
Now this game was made by Fricks Games. Have you heard of this company before?
Nope.
Fricks Games?
You're the board game guy. I'm the whiskey guy.
Well, I started reading into Fricks Games a little bit on their website. And it's actually a family business.
Oh, that's cool.
There's like 10 members of the family that work on making board games.
Oh.
And they've got a passion for these games. Their family name is Frixilius. Okay. Now here's a quote on their website about the parents of this family, which are involved in board games.
All right.
So they say, our father Leonard brought gaming into the family with games he developed in the 70s and 80s. Fricks Games hopes to publish some of these gems in the future. Our mother Ingrid, usually referred to as the mama, is the most incurable gamer of us all. Besides playing our games, she also helps us translate our games into English. So, we got this family. This mother and father have been building games since the 70s and 80s that haven't actually been published yet.
Oh, that's kinda
and that
cool,
they're going to
right?
be bringing out.
That's neat.
So, this family founded their business in 2011 in Sweden. And they had made a number of smaller games, but I never heard of any of them there.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with them. But one of them was a huge hit. And the game we're playing today is based off of a game that had initially been released in 2016. And it's seen multiple expansions since then, about 10 of them actually over the last few years.
Okay.
And it's been reimagined as a card and dice-driven game. And players use special dice to develop their corporations and terraform Mars into a new home for humanity. So we are playing the 1 to 4 player game, Terraforming Mars, the dice game.
All right. Let's reveal. You know the rules this time?
So, I had mentioned, or maybe I hadn't, I've never really played this game before.
Okay.
But I did play it by myself
Okay.
for a little bit to try to learn it.
Perfect.
It seems pretty straightforward.
All right.
So we'll just kind of talk about what we're seeing here. So we've got the planet Mars, and our goal is to terraform it.
The red planet.
That's right. And we're going to terraform it with trees, which are good for the...
Okay.
Actually, what trees do is they increase the oxygen level.
Uh-huh.
So we want to get the oxygen level from 0 to 16.
Okay.
We can build cities. Cities give us points, which are how we win the game. We can decrease the temperature or increase the temperature of Mars. Right now it's freezing. It's minus 32 degrees. We want to get it up to plus 8.
Okay.
We also want to add oceans to the board as well. And the game ends when we've done 2 of those 3 things. So we're looking to add oxygen, increase the temperature, and add rivers to it.
Okay.
And once we do hit 2 of those 3, that triggers the game end.
Okay.
We got a few other objectives here that we're looking for. These are just extra ways to earn points. So one of them is Monopoly, to have 7 dice of the same color.
Okay.
And the first person to achieve that immediately scores some points. We've got Generalist, and that's basically have 1 of each color dice. And then we've got Legend, which Legend is play 6 red cards.
Okay.
And the first person to do any of those will take these and score 4 points for doing so. So, how does the game look? Well, to start off, we've each got 2 corporations.
That's here. Okay.
That's here. So you can flip them over, and we're going to choose one of these corporations. Now, when you're choosing a corporation, on the left-hand side is what we're going to get immediately to start off with.
Okay.
And then on the right-hand side is what we're going to get every production phase going forward in the game. So usually how it is the more dice you have in your production phase, maybe the worse off. your starting bonuses are,
Okay.
the worse the ongoing resources are. Maybe you get more of a little bit of a boost at the start.
Okay.
So with your two options there, you would start off, you could choose, the...
So what are the question marks?
So the question marks are resources, and they're basically wild card. So they can be any resource you want.
Okay.
And that actually brings up a good point, because each of these dice, we've got yellow dice, red dice, blue dice, gray dice, and green dice.
Perfect.
They've all got three different sides to them. So there's an uncommon side, or actually it's common, which is, I think each dice has 3 of those symbols on it. Then there's uncommon, which it would have 2 of those, and then there's rare, which only one side of the dice has those symbols on it. So whenever
it's nice that these guys have made a little...
The player aid is
that's
fantastic.
awesome. Yeah.
So whenever we take dice, for whatever reason, we're immediately going to roll them, and then whatever displays are the resources that you take.
Okay.
So, with yourself, you've got the option to build a city and to get 3 wildcard resources. And then your production would be, rolling those 2 dice, or gaining those 2 dice at the start of each production turn.
Okay.
Alternatively, you can get just the 3 wildcard resources, but instead you get 3 dice every production turn. In this game, whenever you build a ocean, you get 2 victory points.
Okay.
Whenever you place a city, you get 2 victory points, plus an extra point per adjacent forest. So you want to build your cities next to forests. And then same thing with forests, whenever you place them, you get 1 victory point per adjacent city. You raise the oxygen level, and you score 2 points.
Okay.
So planting trees is what we're going to do to raise the oxygen level in the game. And basically, you want to build trees next to cities, and you want to build cities next to trees.
Okay.
Whenever we build anything too, if we cover up any square that has a symbol on it, we'll get those resources underneath of it, or the abilities. Okay. And the ocean has to be built in the blue squares, and you can't build forests or cities there. So essentially, we're looking to terraform Mars, build it up, and we'll do that by taking one of 2 turns. So when it's on your turn, you've got the production turn, and this really nicely just labels it all in order. You discard all your dice over 3, which dice in this game, once you've got them and you've rolled them, it's a resource, it's a fixed item. Okay. So if you're taking a production turn and you've got more than 3 dice, you got to discard down to 3. Okay. Then you can discard as many cards as you want from your hand. So right now we're starting off with 5 cards, and these are all different things we can do. And then you can discard as many cards as you want at the start of your turn, and then you're always going to redraw back up to 5. Okay. Then you take production, which production is whatever is in these little tiled spaces, and we have other cards we can play that will increase our production. Okay. And then there are some cards that will exhaust, and we get to write them back up in the production turn. So we got our production turn, so you can do that, or you can do an action turn. In the action turn, you get to do a support action, which is one of the top 3 actions. The first one, and these are defined by the kind of yellow broken arrow that differentiates between a support action and a main action, which is a red solid arrow. Okay. But with the support action, you can choose any 1 dice you want and then roll it, because whenever we take a dice for any reason, we're always going to roll it as soon as we take it. Okay. The next one is you can spend any one of your resources, but then you can turn any dice you have to whatever side you want. Okay. And then the last one is you can spend any resource you want to draw 2 cards. Okay. So we always do a support action, and then you do a main action. Now your main action can be play a card, which on the top left corner of the cards, they have symbols which will match the different resources that are required to play. Okay. You could also take another support action if you wanted, or you can do any of these things. So the 3 red seas will allow you to increase the temperature. 3 waters, you can play river. 4 leaves, you can place a tree. 3 cities, you can play a city. And 3, looks like a currency type symbol, will get you 2 points. Okay. So essentially, we're just going, at your turn, you decide which one of these 2 you're going to take, and we go back and forth to do them. Okay. With our cards, there are 3 different types of cards in the game. So we've got red cards. And red cards are cards that you play. So you spend the cost up here, and then you immediately get whatever's at the bottom. So these are kind of like immediate one-shot deals. You play them, you get whatever's at the bottom. So in this case, I'd play this card, and then I would get 2 of those currency symbols, which you would actually take the dice and just set it to that symbol. Okay. And then you get those points, which are awarded at the end of the game. With points, if it's got the little banner at the bottom of it, you gain or score that point immediately. If it's got the red banner on the sides, then you save it and you score it at the end of the game. Okay. So those are red cards. When you play them down, you play one, you keep it there, but you just keep playing your other red cards on top of it to form kind of a stack or a deck. You got blue. And blue cards, when you play them, have typically the support action, main action, or free action symbol on them. So this one, because it has that red arrow on it, we kind of keep it over here. And then whenever we're taking our main action, we can choose to do one of the ones on here, or we can do the one that's on our card.
Oh, I see.
So it's like our own little actions that only we have access to. Okay. And then our third one is green. And these ones have that same little symbol that's matched up here, the same background to them. So with these cards, when we play them, we typically would keep it right next to our resources. So whenever we're doing our production phase, we would add that to our production going forward. And we choose which company we want to do.
Okay.
And I'm going to choose this one here, which has 3 wildcard resources, because I like that. Okay, and then I'm going to cover that up. And that now shows I'm red player. And these are my production resources, which I'm also going to take at the start. And in this game, whenever you take dice, you always immediately roll them. And these are now the resources that I have. So I've got these 3 here, but I've also got 3 wild cards, which can be any resource I want them to. Okay, and which one are you going to take?
So I'm going to be greedy up front, and I think I'll take that one.
Nice. So with that, we'll take a city, and you can put that city anywhere you want.
Anywhere I please?
That's right. Except the water zones.
Except the water zones. Okay.
And remember, if you cover anything up, you also get to
that.
take that as well.
Okay. Well, might as well take a victory point right off the top.
Excellent. So we'll move you up to 1. And then whenever you place a city, you do get 2 points. So you're going to go up 2 more as well. Okay. And you got your 3, and then you're going to take a green dice and a gray dice.
Okay. Green and a gray. It's nice that they've got them well differentiated for me.
I was going to ask that.
No, it looks good. Yeah.
Okay.
And just a note to the maker, I really, whenever you can place a player guide that can be put in front of you, you don't have to keep asking the board game that you're playing with. You don't have to ask the owner how to play every time. So this is nice. Good job. Oh, I gotta
roll them immediately. That's right. And then those are the resources you have. Okay. Excellent. So we're now ready to play the game.
Okay.
Before we get started, though, I feel like there's something missing.
There's always something missing when our glass is empty. And our glasses are empty.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Help us, Steve.
So you gave us a theme for this episode, and the theme is
Out of This World.
Bam. All right. So when it comes to that theme, Out of This World, I really have what I consider an impeccable choice for that theme.
Amazing.
When I think of, especially when it comes to whiskey, so when I think of exceptional whiskeys that really embody that theme of Out of This World, only a select few can really go into that category, right? So today I'm confident that the one I've brought is really gonna be in that category of Out of This World. So, without further ado, hailing from Taiwan, we have...
Hold on. Taiwan, there's only so many whiskey companies in Taiwan, at least that I'm aware of.
Sure.
So I have a feeling I know what this is going to be, and I'm super
let's just show you the excited. Box. Let's show you the box. We have Kavalan whiskey. Let's show that to you. Hopefully you can see that. We have Kavalan single malt whiskey from Taiwan. These master distillers are at the top of their game, as far as I'm concerned, right? They only use the finest materials to craft the finest whiskey.
How do they do it? Because the flavor in Kavalan is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, in my humble opinion, they are one of the best. I can't say the best because I haven't tried everything. But of everything that I've had for whiskeys, these guys are always at the top. And in fact, we've done a few, sitting around outside enjoying some whiskeys, And I've brought these ones out too late or too early.
Too early.
Too early is usually the problem, right? Because we've had Kavalan, and then we have something else that actually on its own would be really good, but they just pale in comparison. They're simply not out of this world.
No.
So let me tell you a little bit about it, okay? So the journey for them, these master distillers, starts with the water source, being the springs of Snow Mountain. So it gives them the pure and clean foundation. The mash then undergoes double distillation before gracefully maturing in handcrafted casks. So Taiwan's warm weather as well, the climate there really does enhance the flavors and imparting really unique characteristics that I've only had in these. And in fact, even a shorter aging period because of that. So you won't even find an age description on here, or you won't find an age statement on these bottles.
No, I don't want to throw you off, but do you know how long they age?
I don't remember for this one. Okay. I don't. But it's a lot less because of the way that they make it and because of their climate. It doesn't have to mature that long. But you know what? Honestly, it's really unnecessary to put an age statement on these.
Yeah, true that.
Because, again, my humble opinion, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And it stands up to some really old whiskeys from anywhere else. So today we're going to indulge in the Oloroso sherry cask. So Oloroso sherry, if you've had it in other whiskeys that I've done in it, it's always this beautiful, bold, and just smooth tasting whiskey that comes from the Oloroso sherry. So it's dry, it's going to be nice and dark profile. And in fact, Oloroso derives from the Spanish word for scented.
Ooh.
So it's going to have a nice scent to it as well. A good nose to it. So utilizing those casks, they finish this whiskey beautifully. I haven't had this one, but I know it's going to be good. So is it truly out of this world?
Yeah.
Let's find out, shall we?
It's going to be.
All right, so let's give it a try.
I cannot wait. I think you've chosen the perfect company.
Again, let's be honest. Anything that comes in a cool box is going to be good, right?
I like even at the bottom there at the front, they've got that raised for the percentage of the milliliters. But
so this one's 52.4, so 105 basically proof.
Bet you it'll drink like a 55. I don't know. Let's break it in.
All right, let's break this guy out and have a little go at some Kavalan whiskey before we get right into our game here. So give me a moment here. They're beautiful bottles, by the way, too. They don't spare any expense.
I'll say there's been times, Steve, that you've disappointed me. Not in regards to the show, but you have done outstanding. Before I even try this, you have no idea how excited I am to actually drink this stuff.
So a mutual friend of ours, Eric, he introduced this to me, and I almost had tears in my eyes the first time I had Kavalan. I've had lots of scotches and whiskeys from around the world, but it's so fantastic. And oh man, okay, that nose, I'm already getting a flavor for it. I wish you guys had smell-o-vision on the cameras. We'll have a little bit more if we want later.
There it is, Steve. There it is. So this one is different than the other stuff we tried, right?
Correct, yeah. So this one is finished in the Oloroso sherry casks. The other ones we've had would have been finished in some other kind of cask.
Check out that
and
color. My goodness.
Man, yeah, that's so nice and dark. But again, apparently that's a lot to do with the Oloroso sherry, the cask that it's finished in.
That nose, like what it...
they're sweet, right?
It smells like happiness.
I'll go with that. It
Smells
smells like
so
happiness, yeah. Definitely sweet, maybe a little bit nutty. Almost like a hazelnut because it's got that sweetness to it, but it's nutty. A little bit of baking spices.
A little bit of fruitiness from, no doubt, the sherry.
And again, hey, if you want a proper nosing and tasting and so on review, I'm sure there's plenty of them out there for this Kavalan whiskey. I just thought that this would pair really well with our theme of Out of This World, and I think I'm living up to it.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me is that this is so good, it may outclass the game that we're about to play.
That is a possibility. All right, let's get right into it. Let's have a little taste of this.
It's everything you want in a whiskey. It really is.
So it definitely goes along with the nose, which again, I mean, last episode too, we had a little bit of that where sometimes that nose is just so good, and then you taste
the nose can mislead you sometimes.
It can, yeah. But I don't think that this has misled us at all.
The one thing I will say is that before taking a sip, the nose was very strong on it. After drinking it, it's a lot harder to get anything out of it because the taste is so strong.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's still not like overpowering.
It's just delicious.
I think it's gonna be nice to sip as we continue with this. But yeah, like it's I've had this in ex-bourbon casks as well, which really, I mean, bourbon's sweet. So this is kind of similar to that. I thought it would be a lot drier. So it's got a little bit of dryness to it. I thought it would be a lot drier, but it's I pick up the sweetness from it all the way through. But just look at that.
It amazes me too, with
color.
how little of it you actually need on your tongue
exactly.
to get a full richness from it. Like,
yeah, and it sits there, so that finish is really nice too, because it sits there. So you've sipped, you put your glass down, and you're still tasting it, which is awesome. I've had a lot higher proof on these, which tends to sit a little bit longer, but I really like this Oloroso sherry. If you can find a bottle of this Kavalan, I think it's out of this world.
They don't make a bad one. They're all incredible.
Everything I've had from them is good. In fact, everything I've had from them is out of this world.
Yeah.
And you can get this now in Canada, which is where we hail from. It was a little bit more difficult to get in the past, but you can get this in Canada now, and go out and grab a bottle because this stuff is fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for bringing that. Let's get into our game then, and,
all right,
and see what this experience is all about.
Let's terraform Mars.
Okay, so in this game, the last person who played Terraforming Mars goes first. I didn't make that up.
Yeah.
However, before we do that, can you take one of each dice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, mix them up really good. And what we want is we just want to get 3 random dice to come down. Okay, perfect. So these are extra little scoring conditions at the end of the game.
Okay.
So at the end of the game, of the cards we play,
Yep.
whoever's got the most paw prints, stars, and arrows
Perfect.
will score an additional 5 points for each one of those
Okay,
symbols.
so
And
those
those
you
you
can
can
go back.
That's right.
Excellent.
So according to the rules, I guess I have to go first.
Oh yeah, sure.
I have to go first. So I'm looking at my cards. And so the first thing I can do is support action. So again, I can either take any dice I want and roll it. I can change one of these to any side that I want, which I may want to do if I want to play a certain card out of my hand.
Yep.
Or I can spend a resource to do that, or spend a resource to draw 2 cards. In this case here, I think I'm just going to take an extra resource. So I'm going to grab one of the gray ones and just roll it. So I'm going to take a gray dice. It's a star, so that's my support action. I'm now going to go down to a main action. And with the main action, I'm going to play one of my cards. So I'm going to play this one here, Hydrogen Import. So it's going to cost me a star. It would also cost me one of the currency symbols, but I don't have that, so I'll use a resource for it.
Yep.
So I paid the price. I get to take a ocean and place it in one of the ocean spaces. And I'm going to place it here, which is covering up a blue dice. So I'll roll a blue dice, and I'll have a water droplet. And then whenever we play an ocean, we gain 2 victory points. So I'll go up 2 points there. Okay, and it's now your turn. So you can choose to produce or take actions.
I don't have enough of those. That's the closest I have, but I can't. Okay, so I'm a little bit, just because this is the first time
Yep.
I've played, a little bit lost as to what I should do. Because, I mean, what I have out here doesn't match any of these cards.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to figure out, okay, do I want to grab an extra couple of cards and see if maybe I'll get something for that?
So there's really kind of two different approaches you could take to this here.
Yep.
So number one, you do have 3 wildcard resources, so
Yep.
those can be anything that you want.
Correct, yeah.
You could take a production turn,
Yep.
and then you would gain another green and gray dice.
Oh, okay.
And you just get to roll them in there, whatever they are.
Yep.
Or you could do a support action and draw any color that you want and roll it.
And roll it, yeah.
You could do that as your support action and then do it again as your main action to get another dice.
Okay.
Or you could, do that with one and then use your other one to turn it to whatever face that you want in hopes to be able to line something up. And maybe you can't do anything this turn.
Yeah.
But you get yourself set up for a good position for the following.
Yeah, yeah. So what is this line
So
here?
that green
The bottom there?
line is a free action.
Okay.
So that means whenever it's your turn going forward, you get that as a free action.
Oh, I see.
And with any blue card action, when we use it, we exhaust it.
Okay.
And then it refreshes whenever we take a production turn again.
Oh, okay. So it just keeps coming back every turn.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm just going to do that. I'm going to use my 3 with that, and I'm going to actually do this card.
Fantastic. So with that card, it's got the gray dice symbol, and it's got a question mark on it. So that means you can take a gray dice and set it to whatever face you want it to be.
Okay. Well, let's set it to my stars here. Okay.
Excellent. And then these you just put back in the supply because you've now spent them.
Okay.
Okay, and because you've used it now as well, then it's exhausted like that.
Okay.
And then again, whenever we take a production turn, you can turn all your exhausted cards back up.
Okay.
Okay. I am going to...
So you always have a production and 2 actions?
It's a production turn, or you take an action turn, which would be made up of a support action, which is the top part, and the main action, which is kind of the middle bottom part.
Okay. All right.
I kind of want to increase my ability to produce. So I think I'm going to try to get some more cards to play, or more dice to play this. So I'm going to take a red dice as my support action. Okay. And then I'm going to take a main action to do a support action, and I'm going to turn this dice to this symbol that I want here. Okay, and that's it. It's back to you.
Okay. I will do a production. So I don't have 3 dice, so I'm good there.
Yep.
Discard as many cards from my hand as I wish, and then you
just redraw.
You just draw back to 5, right? So I'm actually going to get rid of these 2.
So we'll just do a discard pile over here.
Okay. So I'll get 3 cards then.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. So that's, and then this comes back.
That comes back, and then you take production. So take production would be you get to grab another green and gray dice, and then shuffle, roll them, and now you have those resources.
Okay.
Okay, and we flip that back up, which is great. Okay, I am going to take a support action, which I'm good on there. I'm just going to grab a random dice. Let's go with this and roll it. Great. And then I'm going to play this card here, the Lichen, and it costs those resources. So now, because it's got that nice little symbol there, I can put that underneath. And now whenever I take a production phase, I'll get that additional dice to play. So that's my turn.
Okay. So I automatically get this.
That's a free action, which is take a gray dice and set it to whatever face you want it to be.
Okay. Give me something here. Okay.
Excellent. Then exhaust your free action. Okay, and now you still get your support and your main action.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a dice. I'm gonna try and see if I can get one of these guys.
Which actually, I think I did that once and didn't pay for it. So I'm gonna throw in the
So 2.
resource there to pay for it.
Okay. I have a feeling I'm going to lose this game.
I hope so. It'd be nice to bring balance to the force.
Yeah. Spend a resource
Okay.
to turn this to lightning bolt.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay.
I will. Actually, I got nothing in my hand I can play. I'm going to take a production turn. So I discard all dice over 3. I don't have more than 3, so I'm fine. Discard as many cards as you want. I like what I've got, so I'm just going to draw 2 more cards. So I draw up to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to take production. So I now can take 4 dice because of those symbols. So I get 3 greens, and blue, and we'll roll blues. Okay, and that's my turn.
Okay, I am going to do my production. So I'm going to leave that. Those 2. For this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can get rid of as many cards as I feel like. Get rid of these. Pick up 2 more. And I flip that one. Okay.
And then you take production. So you get a green and a green.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to do a support action, so I'm going to take a gray dice. Excellent. And I'm going to take another support action as my main action. And I want to get another leaf. So I'm going to spend one of these resources. And I'm going to turn this into a leaf. And that's my turn. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is my first action. I get one of these guys again.
So you exhaust that. Oh yeah, that's right. You just did a production.
Yeah, I just did a production.
You did, right. You're good. Yep.
You want to check those rules again?
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Oh no, you can set it to whatever side you want.
Oh.
Question mark.
Okay. Yeah. So let's set it to. There's only 3, so set it to that. Okay, and then I'm going to do a support action, so I can choose any dice, right?
Yep.
Let's hope that goes through. Yes, it did. Went to the right one. So I was exhausted, but I'm going to play this card.
Nice. So you got the resources. Okay, so this means this now becomes a support action. So it's an additional support action you can do during that phase.
Yep.
And you can turn a hammer into any 3 resources you want. So it's any 3 dice. You take the dice and then you take 3 roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's all I can do for the moment.
Okay.
No, I did only 1, so I might as well.
Well, playing the card was your main action.
Yeah. I'm going to do a support though.
So you always do the support first,
Oh.
and then take your main. In this case, though, it's a learning game, so
Okay.
you can take your support action if you want.
Okay, so
Or you did. You rolled the dice, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
You're good.
Never mind, I did do it. Trying to cheat.
Classic Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going.
Classic Les is 20 minutes from now. He'll be like, "Well, you can play this and do that. It's in the rules."
I'm gonna take a silver one. I'm gonna roll. Or gray one. I'm gonna hammer. That's my support, and then for my main, I'm gonna play the. I have erred. That's so frustrating. However, we have this we can do instead. So we'll do a leaf, a drop, and a hammer for a protected valley. So we get to place on an area reserved for an ocean. So I get to take a tree. And trees, when you place, you get 1 victory point per adjacent city, and you raise the oxygen, which that gains you 2 victory points. So I can put it somewhere that's normally reserved for an ocean. I'm going to put it here. So I get a blue dice. And then I get a victory point per adjacent city. So I'm adjacent to that city, and I get 2 victory points for placing or for increasing the oxygen level. So that'll give me 3 points in total. Okay, now I've just landed on spot number 5. And you notice spot 5 and spot 12 are marked differently on the board.
Yeah.
There's a deck of bonus cards here.
This again, so rules that come out about 20 minutes into the show.
Are pretty sweet. Okay, so I'm going to take this one here, which is a green card, and it increases my production. Sweet, that was pretty good. That was a good turn.
Oh, sure.
It was excellent.
I bet it was, yeah.
Okay, and I spent these resources, and you're now up.
All right. So, I'm gonna spend a resource. Turn that into what I want. So that was a support.
And we'll just take this moment to remind of the bonus objectives on the table.
Uh-huh.
So the first person to get all dice, one of each color dice in their supply, or 7 of the same kind of dice, or to play 6 red cards, will get bonus points for it.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice.
I thought so.
Yeah. Okay, and then, so that's a support, but I can do another support, so I'll do another support, and I will turn this in, and I get 3 of whatever I want, right? So, let's try for this.
All
arrows. Okay.
Which is the uncommon result as well. So
Yeah,
good for you, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was your support action because it's.
I already did my other support.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent.
Because I did the switch to
Gotcha.
whichever one I wanted, and then my next support. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. I am going to take a yellow dice. There's my support action. Excellent. And then I do actually have 1 dice of each color. So I'm going to get the little generalist bonus, which will be extra points at the end of the game.
Yep.
Okay. So that was my support action. And then I'm going to do my main action, which is I'm going to play this card, a biogas experiment, which I'm going to use my bonus, that, and then this. And it's a red card, so it's played immediately. So with this, I get to increase the temperature by 1, and increasing the temperature gives you 2 victory points. And then I get to take my little bonus here for that. Okay.
You done?
Done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's do that. I'm gonna do my 1 support just to pick a blue.
Okay.
We'll roll it up and see what we got. It was not what I wanted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to then play my other support, and I'll spend a resource to turn this to whatever I want it to be, which is this.
Okay.
And now I have to wait, or can I play my card?
No, that's it, because that's your 2 actions.
Okay.
I am going to.
Did you know the rules on that one?
Yeah. I do read them sometimes. I'm actually going to take a production turn. So I'm going to get rid of these to get down to my 3 resources. Actually going to trash all of my cards. And then I'll draw 5 new ones. Okay, I'll take production, which gives me 3 of these now, and 2 of these.
Good job.
Okay, and that's my turn.
Yes, that's right. I'm gonna take a red. 6. And then I will play this card, which is I increase
Nitrogen-rich asteroid. Yeah, we could use that. Okay, so it increases the temperature.
Yeah.
Which gives you 2 points.
Okay.
Okay, and that pushes you up to the 5 threshold as well, so you get to choose any one of these cards. which
Do I
they're
get
all
to look at them?
Oh yeah, you get to
Oh,
look at
okay.
all three. They're like the other cards, except there's no cost to them, so you don't have to pay for it. It's a free card.
Okay. So it just sits here.
Right, and with that, that gives you 5 red dice. So you take 5 dice and roll them. Doing some deep drilling.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. And I believe that's 4, 5, 6, 7 of one color.
Huh, you would be right. Excellent. You also, because you were the first to get up here, there's a little C symbol, you get to take C-faced dice as well.
Okay. Add that to that long list over there.
Long list.
Yep. And then what's the little...
Oh, that little symbol gives you a leaf.
A leaf as well?
Yeah. No, it's an actual leaf.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay, that's okay. Sweet. So your red cards will just play on top of each other, kind of like a stack.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that was a pretty
That was
a pretty good round.
well done for me, yeah. Did I get anything for this?
At the end of the game, we're going to score 4 points for it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I am going to... Yes. I will take a support action. Excellent. I am going to play a mining area. So I could spend that and that. And that actually gives me a bonus building that I get to play. However, I think playing normal buildings doesn't really do anything for you, except you can put them on something to cover it up and then get the bonus that's underneath. So I'm going to put that there to take a bonus one of these. And then I get 2 hammers and a star. So hammer, and a star, and it's your turn.
Okay. So I'm going to play a this card.
Ooh.
With those two.
Yep, looks good.
Apparently the symbol has to go down.
Yeah, apparently. Bring the temperature down.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it says.
So I get to play a water.
You get to place an ocean,
Ocean.
and you get a water drop.
Well, let's go with this guy. So I get 2, so it's 2 of those color?
Yep. So you get to roll 2 green dice, which those are yellow.
Yeah, it's the green.
Yep.
Okay. Alright.
Nice. And then because you placed a river,
Yep.
That gives you 2 victory points.
Excellent.
Great. And then on that card, there's also a little water drop sign, so
Yep.
you get a water drop.
Excellent.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
For my turn, I am going to take a red dice. Cool. And then I'm going to take another red dice. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So my turn, I'm going to spend a resource to turn that.
Okay.
And I'm going to spend another resource as my secondary main action to turn this to... This. There we go.
Okay. Excellent. For my turn, I am going to... Well, I'll take one of these. Support action. And we're going to put down a mow hole. And a mow hole, I'm going to spend 2 hammers. I'm going to spend my 2 random resources, wild cards,
Yep.
to play this, which increases my production. That's it.
Very nice. Okay, so I am going to play the ecological zone, which is another red. So do these 3 and that, which gets me this little guy, which I have to place next to a forest.
Okay.
So I'm going to place him there, which gets me an extra card. Is it just these cards?
Yep.
Just one?
Just one. That's it.
And then that's it.
It'll be worth points at the end of the game. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll go for more cards then. So I'm going to get rid of one of these leaves, and I'll draw 2 more cards. And I think that was a great call, because I'll now play this card here. 2 C's and a leaf. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take 3 more cards. 3 more. And then this flips this guy, which gets me. It's always the gray with this one.
Always the gray with that one, but you can set it to any face you want.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Are you in your production phase right now?
I finished. I'm finishing my production phase.
Gotcha. Okay, so with this, you would only do that during the action phase.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine.
Yeah, you're
I will hold off
at
on
the
that.
start of your next
And I
turn.
take production, so that means I get these.
Yep.
Got one anyway, suck.
We're doing well.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking about our whiskey again for a moment there. Have had a number of
Should we
sips.
throw a drop of water in it and
You
see
can.
what it does?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to add a little bit extra to my glass before I do that.
Oh, that's a good
But I was
No,
really
I
thinking.
think we should get on that part, yeah.
We will. I really think that this would go. I don't necessarily always think of whiskey. Maybe some areas they do having it with dessert, but I think this would really taste good with like a carrot cake or some kind of cake. I really do.
What about like chocolate, like a brownie?
Yeah,
type
you could
thing?
do it. I think anything sweet. I think this would go really nice with anything sweet, and it almost has like that marzipan. You know, the layer on top. It almost has that bit of a flavor to it.
It is actually quite sweet, for a whiskey. But it's not sweet like, ooh, that's disgusting. It's just
No.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
But it's also got the dry to it, which is kind of interesting as well. And before you finish your glass, why don't we add some more? So I don't have to
There was a
use all of my
I-
whiskey up.
I call that a strategic
Yeah, that
play
was.
there.
I saw you going. Okay. So let's add this up, and then let's put another little bit of
Do a little drop in it.
a couple of drops. So I brought our Truth Malters.
Nice.
Shout out to Truth Malters. These guys are purveyors of Kavalan into Canada for us. And they were so nice as to send us a few little treats from one of our tastings that we did with Southern Ontario sippers.
Yeah,
Shout out
Ontario
to those guys, too.
sippers. What a great
How many drops do you want?
concept that is. I'll take 3. Thank you.
You're welcome. So just talking about that quickly, anywhere that you reside, if you want to start kind of getting into whiskeys, that's a great place to start. So Southern Ontario Sippers is run by 2 awesome guys, Bobby and Joel, and they do tasting nights. So as for example, we did a Kavalan tasting back in May, and basically they send us a sample. I think it was 5 or 6 samples from Truth Malters. So they brought in Kavalan whiskey, and they also brought in one from Finland, which was really cool. The furthest northern distillery in the world, and so their whiskey was really awesome. I can't think of it off the top of my head. We can put it in the show notes later. So but yeah, that's a great way of kind of getting yourself into whiskey, and you don't have to go out and purchase 5 or 6 bottles, which can get really expensive, but you can get samples of all of those, and you get to taste them, and you get to enjoy time with like-minded individuals, and it's we really enjoy. We've done, I don't know, 5, 6, 7,
Quite a
10.
few. Now, they are,
Of those?
if you're not somebody that regularly drinks whiskey, they are a little bit expensive to do. Like it can be anywhere from $80 to $180, depending on what it is they're sampling.
Yep.
But what's really nice about it is they've got usually a lineup from whatever distillery is there.
Yeah.
So you really get a flavor for, what, this is something I'd like in a whiskey, or what, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the tastings, is you get those little tastes.
No,
of
exactly,
a lot of
yeah.
different products.
But I mean, the cost sure is definitely something to think about. But for, let's say, $130, which is pretty average for a tasting night, you're going to get 6 sometimes even 7 different samples from a bottle. But if you were to buy, let's even say each bottle was $100.
Yeah, easy.
That's $700,
Yeah.
and you don't even know if you like that bottle
And
necessarily.
actually,
right?
some of the kits we've had, the individual bottles on their own are $200, $250.
Yeah.
So a great way to try something that you might not otherwise.
And special releases even too, right? So bottles you just can't get anywhere else. Like we had for Kavalan, I can't remember the name of it, but the one sample that they sent us was they hid the name on us. They didn't even tell us what it was until after we tried it, and it was because we can't get it.
Yeah.
So it's a fantastic way to spend an evening and try different things. And then ours. They do rum sometimes. We're doing a tequila tasting in another couple of months here. So you can get different spirits from all around the world. So it's a fantastic way to get out there and just kind of try different things. So look up your local whiskey tasting online, and that's an awesome way to do things.
Now, Steve, for people that haven't really tried whiskey yet, because we just did something that people may be asking why. Why did we add a few drops of water to our drink here?
Because we want to water down the whiskey. No. So some people will not add any drops of water to anything.
Okay.
However, we found out, and if you watched our first episode, the No family, they love to add water to their bourbon to their water, which was kind of crazy to think about. So it was 1 part of bourbon to 4 parts water. Here we just added a few extra drops. And so for us, for myself, I find adding that can totally change the nose of that whiskey, but it can also change a little bit the flavor.
And it amazes me how we just did a couple drops.
Yeah.
Even 1, 2, 3 drops of water from an eyedropper can completely open up the flavor or change it. Some things may disappear, other things may become stronger from it.
Yeah.
And for Kavalan, the few drops of water, I actually think really, really made a nice change to it.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's different.
And for some, I mean, again, this is where maybe some tasting nights really help out. I've had some whiskeys, like I have a weeded one that I purchased, and when you add a couple of drops to it, it went from kind of just a smooth little sipping one. I was thinking of being able to sit by the either on the beach or next to the pool, and you're sipping this really light whiskey. You added a couple drops of water to it, and it just burst with flavor. It completely changed. It was actually spicy. You could taste like peppercorns in it. So it really opened it up. So try, you don't have to put a lot.
Even for this, I find it changes where that sweetness hits you.
Yeah.
Before the sweetness was kind of on the tip of my tongue. Now the sweetness is kind of more even over the whole back of my tongue.
Yeah.
I like this better with the couple drops of water.
Yeah, it's gone from like a vanilla, that marzipan vanilla, to caramel.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so good.
Don't you? Yeah. Almost like, we're getting into fall season, like pumpkin spice, right? Like, so there's no pumpkin to it, but that spice to it.
So
that
good.
water just adds that little bit extra.
I'm so happy you brought that. On the flip side, with the game, we're a few rounds into it.
Yeah.
What are your initial kind of thoughts or feelings of it?
So when we were setting up, we were talking about what we're going to be doing. That you didn't tell me about the game or anything. You said it was a quick game.
Yeah.
This is not a quick game.
Well, anytime you play a game for the first time, it's always a longer, slower experience, right?
But I don't think, well, I mean, maybe once you kind of get used to the cards and the dice and the rounds, maybe it'll go a little bit quicker the next time. But this sure is not a quick game. you were totally off on that one.
Okay, so let's take the timing of it, because I think the game says 45 minutes or something.
Okay,
yeah,
so you can usually double that if you've got 3-4 people. At least, right? Yeah.
I would think, though, with more people, because when we're playing it here, I'm not really looking at my hand when you're going. I'm kind of watching what you're doing for the most part.
Yeah, sure.
But if you had 3 or 4 people playing, you would want to kind of plan out your actions while the others are going, so that when it's your turn, you can just go right away.
Yeah.
So let's take the timing out of it, though. What do you think of the kind of the mechanics of it?
I like the mechanics. I really
Like the player aids.
love the player aids. Like, just stop trying to have us think about something else while we're trying to strategize. So hats off to this family that came out with this. They did fantastic on this.
I will call out as well, on the last page of the manual, the very back, they've got a, I just moved this, I don't remember where they were.
Yeah, we were both at the same spot.
Oh, were we?
By the way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a cheater.
I was trying to give you a hand. There's also a player guide for scoring as well.
Yeah.
And I've been relying on that the whole time I've been playing as well. So between this and this, you essentially have everything you need.
You know what? It's almost like, so you can tell that this family has tried and played this for a long time and perfected it before they sent it out to us, which is awesome.
To me, it's nuts that, like, I think of it, how I get along with my kids, and I like my kids. I love my kids.
Yeah.
But would I want to go into business with them together and spend a ton of time, or do they share the same passions that I have? No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
The fact you've got 10 of them, and they said there's more. They're just 10 of them more features on the thing.
Yeah.
To me, it's quite incredible to have a family that's all committed to making board games.
Some families are like that.
Their father's games that they dreamt up from the 70s and 80s that they're designing now today.
That's awesome. No, that's fantastic. So far, I am liking this game. I kind of wonder the dynamics when you add. Is it up to 4 players?
4 players.
I kind of wonder the dynamics of 4 players, but so far I'm enjoying it, and I'm liking it. It's taking a little bit to. Maybe I'm overthinking every step that I've tried, and I totally just went right in with my first card, so I'm not getting a ton of dice, but so far I'm liking it, and we'll see when we get to kind of to the end of this round and see what happens.
Excellent. Whose turn is it? Do you remember?
I believe it was mine.
Okay, go for it.
Video replay will show us.
See, if Steve gets an extra turn and ends up winning, then it'll be, well, Steve got that extra turn.
Yeah.
And,
You should have known what you were doing then. Okay, so I'm going to do a spend a resource.
Now, add VP from awards. So awards are the top things up top. So we want to look at all the cards that we have on the table in front of us and see who has the most paw prints. So you go through the red cards and just add up all of your green paw prints. It appears I have none.
I have 3.
Okay.
Oh.
There we go. So you got 1, you have more than I do. So you get an extra 5 points. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the gray stars. Of which I only have 2.
I have 2 as well.
So I think this game likes ties. Both players score, so we each get 5 points. 4, 5. Okay. And the last one we have is the red arrow. I only have 2.
4.
My goodness. Okay. 5 points for you.
Ooh.
That
brings us tied.
That may hurt me.
All those dice, eh? Look at that.
Okay, excellent. If you're playing a 3 or 4 player game, whoever had the second most would get 3 points. But in a 2 player game, just the first person.
Just me.
Okay, we do our milestones. So each milestone is worth 4 points. So I completed. Are these milestones? They are milestones. Yeah. So I get 4 points, and you get 8 points. Fantastic. Okay, excellent. And then we do VP from cards. So some of the cards have point values on the bottom, so just add those up.
I have 11.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I only have 2. 2. So Steve,
I believe this is another game that I won. So that's 2 for 2 for Steve.
It's not that we're keeping track.
Oh, we're keeping track. 2 games we played. Twice I won.
Right, but one of those you're playing wrong. So
That
probably
was not my fault. That rests solely on you, my man.
You know what's funny? As we're playing that game, I had so many point cards in my hand that I thought I'm gonna be rich.
Yeah.
In points after
You
this,
just
and then I
played.
didn't build any of them. Huh. Okay, so final scoring.
Let's recap everything.
Yeah, so you won with 61 points.
Yeah.
I finished the game with 48 points.
Oh yeah. I didn't even finish through. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. This is my first time playing the game as well.
Yeah.
On a full playthrough.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah.
It does seem a little overwhelming at the start.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you got all these cards in your hand, you got all these symbols. But it's one of those games that I honestly believe I'm only going to enjoy it the more I play it. I like how the resource system works with the dice. There is a bit of randomness in there, but you do have full control over what you do with them as well.
Yeah.
This was the Kickstarter edition, which the Kickstarter includes some extra cards, but I didn't actually use any of those cards. So everything we've played here is available in the standard retail version of the game.
Nice.
The mat I have here was a Kickstarter add-on as well.
Yeah.
A side point, and I don't know why they did this, but when they had the Kickstarter mat, they had 2 versions of it. So one of them was designed to fit the normal, I guess the retail edition of Terraforming Mars. They had a big box upgrade for it, which had larger tiles with physical buildings.
Oh, okay.
And apparently they look great. But the mat, they sized for those buildings, which weren't available to buy during the Kickstarter. So I ordered a mat, but I ordered the wrong one. So it's a bit larger, which is why the tiles don't fit nicely into into the pieces. But it still looks great. I don't know. I had fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the overall experience. Your thoughts on it?
I like the visuals of this game again. It's really nice. I love the little cheat sheet, as I would call it. It helps you kind of visualize and realize, okay, this is what I need to do next. All that kind of stuff. The coloring is good. There was a couple on these that it took me a moment, but they've got all the symbols on it. So that's all that matters. I can just look at the symbols and go, okay, that's what I'm looking for.
And I think that's the only time in the game that I observed that your color blindness was impacted. There was one time I wanted you to grab a green dice, which when it's a blank dice that you roll, there are no symbols on it, and you reach for one of the yellow ones. But that was...
And then these here, those would mess me up. They don't have the symbols on this. That would be a little bit nicer if you could put at least one of the symbols. That because all the symbols are different across all the dice, so you could have put that on there. But other than that, yeah, I really like this game. I would definitely play this again. It's visually nice. Yeah, a lot of work's definitely gone into it. So I really like this. It's a good game.
Excellent. It is a double-sided board as well, same in the retail version. And it's got a different map on it, so it changes up how it plays. I don't know. I really
There's a bit of a learning curve. So I think the first time you play, it's really quite overwhelming. Especially we're competitive with each other, so I want to try and do the best. So just trying to keep figuring out what all the dice symbols and so on. So at the top of the cards, if you didn't see it quite, they have all the symbols and so on, and the colors for those that are looking at that. So it's a little bit overwhelming. But it's kind of neat because you took a totally different route
completely different
than I took. And it wasn't strategy on my point. It was just kind of how I started off as opposed to how you started off. And then I just kind of rolled with that, with whatever you pick up and get. So
I felt like I was ahead the whole game because I had a million dice. But you had a ton of actions.
I did.
And that extra action economy obviously worked quite well in your favor.
So it's neat. And then there's other, like I really didn't even get into some of these main actions, which could get you extra points towards the end of the game. In fact, the 3 money gives you
straight up points.
Two straight up points, yeah. So I think the next time I play, I'm going to even try and just do a little bit different.
I like
see
that.
how that comes out. So that's kind of cool.
Talking about that, because I'm already thinking in my head too, okay, what am I going to do different next time I play it, right?
Yeah.
What other strategies am I going to try to get ahead in it?
Which is awesome for any game that you play, because then when you're thinking about, okay, next time I play, you really can't get any better than that for someone that's made a game for you to play. Then, okay, I want to play this again, and this is what I'm going to try and do differently. So
yeah, and I want to talk production on this a little bit as well. I love when a game manufacturer puts thought into their box inserts. And this game, it doesn't have a fancy box insert, but what they did is they stuffed extra foam pieces in to the dead spaces so that it holds all your components nice and tight.
Nice.
And I assume that's for whenever they do expansions, you'll have room in the main box that it came with for those additional cards. They also included baggies, and I know baggies are a little thing, but publishers, please put baggies in your games, because there's nothing more frustrating than having just a box of loose components. And those little baggies help keep things organized.
Please, publishers, for every time I play with this guy, put baggies in so we don't have to hear about the stupid baggies anymore.
I mean, trays are better. We'll take trays.
Trays are good.
Just keep the games organized so that you're not spending forever just separating the components and making the box.
And then we don't have to hear about baggies every time we play a game.
That's right. So, Steve,
all right, that's the game.
Your final thoughts on it? Do you recommend this game?
I would totally recommend this game. Yeah.
Excellent.
I really liked it. Again, a little bit of a learning curve, but that's true with any good game. Is having a bit of a learning curve, so that the next time you play, and you're thinking about, okay, the next time I play, this is what I'm going to do differently.
You talk about the learning curve, and actually that brings me back to something else I've never seen in a board game before. But this game came with a code for this site called Dized. Like D-I-Z, I don't remember the spelling of it, but Dized. Okay. And it is an online tutorial for the game.
Oh, cool.
So you go to this website. I guess it's a subscription-based service. You can register for it, and they've got a bunch of games on there that you can learn to play. Yeah. But it's got, it's not exciting. It's not, I'm going to say it's not fun. But it's got graphical representations that walks you through every single stage of setup and the first few rounds of play.
Oh, that's cool.
And it just tells you how to do everything perfectly. So that's actually what I did to learn to play this game. And it's because of that I was confident that even without actually having played with somebody else before, that we could sit down and play this together and get through it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going to put out the effort and money to put out a new game, why wouldn't you do something like that? So yeah, kudos to the manufacturer, that awesome family in, where is it, Sweden? Or Finland?
My notes are on the ground now.
Anyway.
Switzerland, I think.
Switzerland, yeah. Kudos to them, because obviously they've taken a lot of time and effort to put this out. So that's awesome.
There's a lot of love in this. Frick's Games, you've done very well.
Perfect.
How does the Kavalan pair with it?
So again, going with the awesome game is going with a fantastic whiskey, and this Kavalan really did stand up to our theme of out of this world. In fact, I'm thinking about Terraforming Mars. And if they sent me to Mars and I had to choose a whiskey to take with me, I would definitely take this bottle of Kavalan with me.
Without a doubt. Yeah. If this is your last bottle of whiskey that you're ever going to be able to enjoy, due to a space voyage or any other sort of activity, this bottle would be a top nominee to be among that.
It definitely, and you really can't go wrong with any of the Kavalan that they put out, anything these guys put out. So get out there, grab a bottle. It is available in Canada now. It was pretty difficult before to get it. But Truth Malters have really stepped up the game to make sure that they can bring it in for anyone in Canada. It's even available in Ontario, which is crazy. Well, I think this was a very successful evening of playing games and drinking some whiskey, don't you?
I think we've learned, if you're going to play Terraforming Mars, the dice game, you want to bring a bottle of Kavalan to pair with it.
That's a fantastic idea.
I like it.
Excellent. Well, this has been Tabletop Tastings, your perfect pairings of board games and whiskey tastings.
And I'm Les.
And I'm Steve.
We'll see you next time.
Have a great night.